Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
The Jack Benny Program.
Hello, Doctor. Yes, it's me again. Doctor, look, I did everything you told me to, and my cold is getting worse. It's gone to my chest now. I know complications are setting in, and... Huh? No, I don't want any house call. Just suggest over the phone. But what do you think I ought to... Huh? Hung up. Right away with the house calls. See, I feel miserable. Oh, nurse. Nurse! That hot water bottle that you put by my feet leaks. It's no good.
Well, I told you to keep your toe in the hole.
I told you to have a patch. You're a fine nurse.
You've only been sick 3 days. I haven't had a chance to get a diploma.
That hat looks ridiculous. Miss Livingston still in the kitchen?
She's fixing you something to eat.
Oh, I can't eat. I have no appetite or anything. What are you doing?
It's time for your cough medicine.
Rochester, I don't want that stuff. It tastes awful.
Come on now, you've got to take it.
Mm-mm.
Come on.
Mm-mm.
Open up.
Mm-mm.
Open wide.
Mm-mm.
Say, boss, did you read where Gary Cooper made $5 million last year?
Wow! Rochester! What are you laughing at?
Last time I said 10 million and you swallowed the spoon.
You sure my lawyer said he'd be here by 10:30?
That's what he said.
I wish he'd get here.
Here you are, Jack. I fixed you a nice omelet.
Oh, Mary, I can't eat. I have no appetite.
Oh, you gotta eat something. Here, this'll do you good.
Oh, all right.
Rochester, did Mr. Benny have a good night's rest?
No, he tossed and turned and kept talking in his sleep all the time.
Well, what'd he say?
Said he's gonna give me a raise.
Well, I'm not.
You mumble again tonight, and I'm gonna stick a checkbook in your hand.
Listen, don't try anything, Rochester, or I'll... Mary,
Yes?
what did you put in this omelet?
Vapor rub. You've got a cold, haven't you?
Vapor rub? That's stuff that you're supposed to rub on. Supposed to use it externally.
Then put the omelet on your chest and leave me alone.
Oh, well, I can't breathe. I'm getting pneumonia. But do I get any sympathy?
Oh, gesundheit, Jack.
Thanks. I got a hot water bottle that...
Gesundheit, boss.
Thanks. Water bottle that leaks. An omelet with...
Your turn, Miss Livingston.
No, I said it already.
Yeah, but I said it after you said it.
Well, somebody say it. I'm Gesundheit. It's all Don Wilson's fault.
Oh, don't be such a baby, Jack.
Answer the door, Rochester. Must be my lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Leave me, Mary. I've done a million nice things for Don Wilson. Then he has to go and pull a stunt like this. Well, he'll regret it, believe me.
I'm sorry, Mr. Benny, but I was slightly detained. Oh, hello, Miss Livingston.
Hello, Mr. Kearns.
Here you are, Mr. Kearns. Have a seat.
Oh, thank you very kindly, Rochester. Well, Mr. Benny, I've got all the papers drawn up here. But of course you realize this might come to court and, well, are you sure you want to go through with this?
Positive. I want to break down Wilson's contract.
Jack, you can't be serious.
Mary, I know what I'm doing. Are the papers in order?
Yes, but there's one minor detail concerning the reference to Mr. Wilson.
Minor details. What is it?
Well, don't you think it'd be more proper legal phraseology if you referred to him as the party of the second part instead of a big fat slob?
I don't care how you refer to him. I just want to break Wilson's contract, that's all.
Jack, you're making a mountain out of a molehill.
I am not.
Mr. Benny, you never did tell me. What was it that Mr. Wilson did? I mean, what happened?
I'll tell you what happened. It all started at Tuesday's rehearsal. We'd been at it all day, and the show was shaping up fine.
Well, the sketch is fine. Bob, your production number looks great. Your monologue's good, Jack. The only thing left is Dennis's song. Now, where's he?
I don't know.
I'm sorry to keep you people so late. Might as well take 5. Take 5, everybody.
Okay.
Come on, Bob, let's finish this game. You're 900 points up. I'll go over a few lines here. Yeah, I'll get you, though.
Don, don't get up. I meant to give you this yesterday. Better late than never. Happy anniversary.
Thanks very much, Mary. That's very thoughtful of you. Bob, I want to thank you, too. That silver serving tray you sent made a big hit with the little woman.
Well, Don, you don't have an anniversary every day, you know.
No.
How'd you like my present, Don?
Oh, it was beautiful, Jack. I haven't seen any of those in a long time.
Well, they're not easy to get, you know. I had to shop all over town.
What'd he give you, Don?
A bowl of wax fruit.
Yes, sir.
You give the corniest presents. Last year on my birthday, you gave me a bustle.
No, but it was full of chocolates. Don't forget that. It was a novelty. I spent $1.50 a pound for a bustle, and she's complaining.
What good is candy after you sit on it?
You weren't supposed to sit on it. That was your fault.
Hard centers yet.
Never mind.
Say, Don, with all the friends you've got, you must have taken in quite a haul.
Oh, we got some magnificent gifts, Bob. You just wouldn't believe... Say, wait a minute. I have a wonderful idea. When we're through here, why don't we all go over to the house and take a look at them?
But, Don, it's 7 o'clock.
So what? There's always plenty of food around the house. You can stay for dinner.
Dinner? Gee, now, that'll be an imposition on your wife. I mean, the 3 of us barging in like that.
Jack, it's no imposition. Lois would love to have you.
I know, but I think at least you ought to call your wife up. I mean, call her up and tell her we're coming so that we don't barge in like...
Jack, it's no trouble at all. Lois is a peach.
Well, all right. But I think...
Where's
that...
Dennis? I'd like to run through his song before we break.
Dennis, I don't know. That kid drives me nuts. Whenever we want him, he's not here. If he's not here in time to sing his song, I'm not paying him.
You said the secret word. You said the secret word. So you want to try it? It's more fun than a merry-go-round.
Come on, fella. Now get him down off of here.
Hey, Clancy, lower the boom.
Dennis. Sometimes I think you haven't got a brain in your head.
Well, I suppose it doesn't take brains to sing a song.
Not necessarily. Crickets can sing, and they haven't got brains.
Well, Jack, I think you're a little confused there. You see, crickets don't exactly sing. Their song comes from rubbing their hind legs together.
Oh.
Hey, I ought to try that sometime.
Yeah, do that. Let me know how it turns out. Now get this thing off of you and rehearse your song. You kept us waiting here for an hour.
Okay.
That kid drives me crazy. No wonder I look 40. Bob, is the orchestra ready?
All except our piano player, Charlie Bagby.
What's the matter with Bagby? Didn't he show up?
Well, he was here, but he was wearing a dirty shirt, so I sent him home.
Bob, with these guys, I mean, what's so terrible about wearing a dirty shirt?
That's all he was wearing.
Oh. Well, no wonder you sent him home.
Not worried, though. I think he took the bus.
Bob, you're making this whole thing up.
I think I am, too.
Dennis.
Huh?
Look, we want to get through with this rehearsal. Now, go ahead and sing your song.
With my legs and my tonsils.
With your tonsils. Forget about the cricket.
Okay.
Malin, will you run it over with Denny?
What a rare mood I'm in. Why, it's almost like being in love. There's a smile on my face for the whole human race. Why, it's almost like being in love. All the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I would swear I was falling. I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love. All the music of life seems to be like a bell that is ringing for me. And from the way that I feel when that bell starts to peal, I would swear I was falling. I could swear I was falling. It's almost like being in love.
Dennis, that was wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
And I must say it sounded a whole lot better than a cricket rubbing its legs together.
To you, but not to another cricket.
I never thought of that.
Jack, everything looks fine. I've got a few things to work out yet, but you can all go.
Okay. Come on, kid.
Well, I'm all ready. Where's everybody?
Come on, kids. I got a cab. He's waiting out front. Oh, say, Dennis, Mary, Jack, and Bob are coming over to the house. Why don't you join us?
Swell, thanks.
Hey, wait a minute. Don, now there are four of us. This is an imposition barging in on your wife like that.
Jack, I told you, it's perfectly all right. Lois won't mind.
Come on, Jack. I'll get the coats.
But Don, I still think you ought to call her up and tell her we're coming.
Oh, Jack, stop worrying. Don knows what he's doing. Come on.
Come on, Jack.
Come on,
It's
Jack.
all right. No, come on.
Look, now, what would it hurt to call her up?
Don, how much farther is it?
Just a little way, Mary.
Don, I'm still worried. You sure your wife won't mind our barging in like this?
Lois will be delighted to have you, Jack.
Okay.
Right straight ahead, driver. I'll tell you when to turn.
Yes, sir.
How much is that, driver?
Mary, let me help you.
Okay. Here you are.
Now, wait a
right-
minute, Don. Let me take care of this.
Oh, no, Bob. I want to
Look,
take care
Danny,
of it.
I'll pay with the fare.
No, let me, Bob.
Look, will
Danny.
you two fellas with this?
Mary, Don sure has a beautiful house. That rose bushes around the door and everything.
Jack, pay for the cab and let's go in.
Me pay for it? I'm not even in the argument.
Go on.
Oh, okay. Look at me. Wait a minute. How much you say it was, driver?
$1.85.
Okay. Here's $2. Keep the change. Oh, goody. Now I can weigh myself 15 times. Wise guy. All right, Don, let's go in. Huh?
Yeah, I'm
Hey,
sorry.
wait a minute.
Huh?
Well, you know, Jack, I've been thinking.
What?
Well, gee whiz. Maybe I should have called my wife up first. Well, 5 of us barging in like this, it might upset her.
Don, that's what I told you at the studio. I said call her up. Call up your wife. Let her know we're coming.
Come on, Don. Don't be afraid. Let's go in. Huh?
Oh, it's not that I'm afraid.
Wait a minute, I can understand the way Don feels, all of us barging in like this.
Barging.
Yeah, barging.
I told you once. I told you 1,000 times. Call her up. Call up the little woman. Let her know we're coming.
Now, will you? Look, I've got an idea. Tell you what. You all go over there at the corner of the house and wait for me. Right over there. Go ahead, all of you. All right, Jack. I'll be with you in a minute.
Told her 1,000 times. Sure and call up.
Look, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll go in the house and tell Lois that some of the gang may drop over unexpectedly. That'll soften the blow.
What blow? Don, I told you.
Jack, let's do it his way. Come on.
Yeah, come on now, please do. Everybody, get down now. Get down out of sight and be quiet.
Make it snappy.
I will. Ow! Rose thorns.
Quiet and get off my foot.
Oh, hello, sweetheart.
Well, I thought I heard somebody out here. You're home early.
Yeah. Say, who was in that car that just drove away?
A junk man. I gave him that lousy bowl of wax fruit.
There's gratitude for you. The banana's lit up and everything.
Say, honey, I'm awfully hungry. You got something good to eat for dinner?
Well, I didn't have a chance to do any shopping, so I just opened a can of tuna fish.
Oh, that's fine.
$2 already. I'm going to get tuna fish.
You're not even in yet.
Oh, it's silly. If I told her once, I told him 1,000 times. Call her up. Call up the little woman. Let's not barge in. The silliest thing. He drives me. Dennis, stop eating those roses.
Oh, I'm hungry.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard of, eating roses. How are they?
They need salt.
Stop with the jokes.
Yeah. I just told my wife I saw Mary and Bob pulling up in a car, so you two come on in.
Oh, good.
Okay, Mary.
See you later, Jack.
What about me?
You weren't in the car.
For Pete's sake, I could have been. You made the whole thing out. Let's all go in.
No, Jack, now you can't do that. Mary and Bob first.
This is the worst mess I ever got in. Yeah. I told him 5 times. I said, Don, call up your wife. Call up the little woman. No, he had to be a wise guy. Top of that, it's going to rain. If I get pneumonia, it'll be Don's fault. Now stop rubbing your legs together.
Well, that's not me. That's a cricket. He's singing O Solo Mio.
Solo mio. Doesn't sound like that to me.
Well, that's because you don't understand Italian.
Why do you always have to annoy me?
Dennis, come on in.
Dennis?
Yeah. I told my wife I saw Dennis ride up on his bicycle.
Well, as long as you're dreaming things up, you could have seen me on the handlebars. Use your fat head. How's the tuna fish holding up?
Oh, there'll be plenty. Don't worry, Jack. You're next.
Look who's here, dear. Dennis Day. Oh, Mrs. Wilson.
Look who's here, dear Dennis Day. I ought to have my head examined. I can't get over it. I told him once, I told him 5 times. He says, call her up. Call her up your wife. Let her know we're coming. Let's not barge in. I knew it. I'm going to get sold. Go the heck with it. I'm going inside the house, ready or not. If he thinks I'm going to...
Stick him up, buddy. You heard me. Stick him up.
Are you a burglar?
Who else works in lousy weather like this?
Look, mister.
Keep those hands up. Now, come on. Your money or your life? I said your money or your life.
I'm thinking it over.
One peep out of you and so help me, it's curtains.
But you heard him. He was calling me just now.
Jack, where are you? Come on in.
Look at mister. The tuna fish will be all gone. And I'm hungry.
There's nobody out there, darling. You must have been mistaken.
I guess I was there.
Give me your dough.
Look, mister. Please. You can't do this to me. It isn't my fault. If Don Wilson had just taken my advice, that's all.
What are you talking about?
I'll tell you what I'm talking about. If I told him once, I told him 1,000 times. Don, I said, Don, call up the little woman. Call up your wife. Let's not all barge in on this. Call her up, I said. Call her up. Call up the little woman. But would he listen to me? No. Wise guy, smart. I said, let's not barge in on the little woman.
I see. Then because of Mr. Wilson, you have this miserable cold.
And nervous shock from being held up.
I can certainly understand your attitude, Mr. Benny. Oh, here's a copy of Mr. Wilson's contract. Let's look it over. Well, you can see for yourself if this case should ever come to court. Why, Mr. Wilson wouldn't have a leg to stand on. Why, as a matter of fact, we might even...
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Mr.
Benny.
Kearns.
Yeah?
Wait a minute. I just noticed something. I don't want to fire Don Wilson.
Jack, what made you change your mind?
Yes, you said yourself that he was responsible for your being sick.
I know. But now that I see what I'm paying him, I deserve it. Mary, I feel terrible. I know I'm getting bronchitis.
Well, it's your own fault for being so cheap. Anybody that has a cold as bad as you have would certainly call a doctor.
I guess you're right, Mary. Who's a good doctor for bronchitis?
Well, I have a very good doctor. His name's Dr. Hillary.
I'll call him. What's his number?
Crestview 54199.
Crestview 54199. Hello, Dr. Hillary? This is Take It or Lose It. For $5,000, what's the best way to treat bronchitis? Yes? Yeah? What? Is that the right answer? Well, I won't know for about 3 days. Good night. Thank you.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. I am joined by John Henderson. We have the wonderful Terry Phillips with us this week. I'm so excited. And we have Kathy Fuller-Seeley. And this is, I had thought it was dinner at Don's house. So I'm like, oh, hopefully it'll have a few of the characters in it. You know, maybe it'll be Dennis and Jack and who knows, going to Don's house. But it ended up being probably the episode John and I were racking our brains trying to think if there was another TV episode that featured more of the original cast. And I don't think there is. I think this is probably the biggest single main cast episode. I mean, it certainly could have had
other than the
Frank
shower
Nelson.
of stars, Jack's birthday. But
oh, sure, yes. But we're just thinking. I'm thinking a regular half-hour Jack Benny straight-up episode. This is probably the most. It has Mary's in this one. Don's in this one, of course, because Don's. It would be strange if Don wasn't. Let's just sneak over to his house. And strangely, it has Bob Crosby, this is one of Bob Crosby's very last episodes. He has like one more after this.
Maybe not everybody knows that Bob Crosby was a cast member of the Jack Benny Show at that time in the late 50s or the early 50s, the late end of the Jack Benny series.
Boy, John, you're not giving our audience much credit. They are Jack Benny fans. They, of course, know that. No,
sometimes people stumble onto these.
Yeah. Why, John, why did he all of a sudden start appearing so late on the Jack Benny Show?
I have no idea.
Who was he replacing? Could it have been some other...
wasn't there another band leader? What was his name? Oh, yes. Phil Harris.
Phil Harris. A little-known band leader on the Jack Benny Show, Phil Harris. Had to leave in 51, wasn't it, John? Right around then? So so he was off the show in 51 and was replaced on the radio show by Bob Crosby. And Bob Crosby would be on the rest of, he was on the rest of the seasons of the Jack Benny Show. As it got later on, they featured him less and less. I think chances are he was busy on television and things and probably hard to work around his schedule. So he'd be the final season. The very final season of Jack Benny Show on radio, I was under the impression he was on a lot of episodes. But really what they did was they played a lot of reruns. So So he really was. I don't even know if he was ever on any of the new episodes done for 54, 55. I think he might have only been, maybe he was on one episode at most, I think. But virtually all of the rerun ones they played were ones with him. So it made it feel like he was in half the season. Yeah. But that last season is such an interesting season. We'll be playing that for you on my podcast, the Jack Benny Show OTR podcast. Next season, we'll be doing Jack's last season, 54, 55.
So I have a question for all of you about the band. Phil Harris didn't actually lead the band on the radio.
Right. That was Malin Merrick.
Actually, no. He did at the beginning before Malin Merrick was around. Yeah. But he was hired as a band leader. Yeah. And as most band leaders, they used him to also act as the band leader and be an actor and say lines and things. I very quickly, I think within a couple of years, they decided that, I think it was one of those things they probably did to try and go, okay, I don't have more money to give you, but you're like really, really popular. So I'm going to take this off your plate. Being the band leader, you'll be the fake band leader who just is an actor that I'm hiring to talk at me, and Malin Merrick will take over the job as the band leader. It also might have had to do with right around that time they had the strike where they couldn't play certain songs. It was there was a while that they had the strike. It like overlapped in that period. So I don't know if they kind of just slid into Malin Merrick because.
Well, so my question is, was Malin Merrick directing the band when Bob Crosby acted as the band leader?
Yes,
I would think so. Yes.
It was interesting that they dropped that fiction for this episode and they said,
exactly.
Oh, Malin Merrick. And
exactly. So Bob Crosby, other than playing cards, had very little to do in this episode.
Yes. Yeah. And his whole run, as far as I know, was Malin Merrick the entire time being because I don't see how Jack being such a loyal person to all of his people would go, oh, Malin, now we have a new band leader, and so you're going to have to step back. I don't see it.
At one point in the radio show, they introduce Malin Merrick and they say, "Oh, here's the arranger." So
yes,
Bob Crosby's still the band leader. He's just the arranger.
Yes. They
Well,
talk about that a lot.
Malin had to create all the sportsman's parody songs, so there was stuff to arrange. So
yeah, well, and that was brilliance. That was amazing. The arranging and working with the writers to come up with the dialogue and things that they would use in all of those parodies. That was just phenomenal.
Well, it seems to me he didn't get enough credit.
Malin Merrick?
Yeah,
but the thing is, you got to remember he worked for Jack Benny for what, 20? He might have worked all the way through all of the specials and everything too.
he was always given a screen credit, but he was never an on-camera presence or
but he had
on the radio.
Wheelbarrows full of money being dumped on his front porch for decades. I think he was probably fine with that.
Oh, that.
Yeah, there's always that. Well, it would be a weird position to be in, right?
Yeah.
It's like you're really the band leader, arranger, all of that stuff, but we have these famous ones that are the fake ones that are in front, and so we can't, how do we give you much credit when we have these? It's tricky.
It would be a little bit like if Doc Severinsen hadn't really been the leader of the Tonight Show.
Well, it'd be more like if Doc Severinsen was the leader, band leader and everything for maybe the first 2 or 3 years, and then said, you know what, I just want to be a personality on the show. I don't want to lead the band anymore, so I hire somebody else. And they did, and he still stayed along as the band leader. That would be really strange. So,
yeah.
Well, I will say though, since we're talking about this, and I always like to mention this, I love the band as Phil Harris leads the band in 36, 37, 38, that time frame. I just think there's so much energy when the band comes on. I just love to hear when they go into the band, and it's just, there's just a sense of bombast that goes with Phil Harris and his performances in the band. And if you ever see a film ever of Phil Harris leading a band, he's so animated. His whole body goes into leading the band. He's not just taking his little stick. I just wave the stick. That's what he always likes to say.
And were any of those the same musicians?
His whole body, and it's crazy.
And were any of those the same musicians who stayed with the show?
Yeah, he worked with those musicians a lot, and I don't know if he would take Jack's house band and they were his band at like the Coconut Grove and all those places he did, but I get the feeling it was, at least in the early years. So there you go, Kathy, another book for you that you could write about how the whole band thing worked out and who was playing with who and all of that, and the whole,
because indeed they needed something to do the rest of the week.
Right.
They're not going to get paid quite enough on Jack's show that they could just stay home and whittle sticks.
Right. Well, and we recently, as a group, cheated a little bit. Watched we saw the Phil Harris when he was on the Jack Benny show, because that exists now. We found the Jack Benny show, which is a famous one, and we'll present to you at some point in the future. But it is really interesting in there where we have Phil Harris talking to left-handed guitar player Frank Remley, being as Frank Remley was a character on Phil's show that Remley had them stop using the character and start calling it Elliot Lewis, which is the actor who played Remley. So there's all this weird dynamics behind the scenes, and was Remley really mad at Phil, or was Phil really mad at, who knows? I don't know what all happened, or was it all just business and they were still good friends? I'm not sure, but it was just interesting to see them together on that Jack Benny episode. But we're talking about a different Jack Benny episode, so let's keep going. So also Dennis Day's on this. I don't think I mentioned that. So we end up with the majority of the later radio cast that's with him, or basically the entire radio cast from the later episodes of the Jack Benny radio show. I would have loved to have seen Frank Nelson and Mel Blanc on here as well. I mean, that's the only way you could round it out more, but they weren't really official members of the radio cast, but of course they were on almost every episode. So Anyway, a great episode, just a fun one to watch. And we get at the end the surprise, and I'm sorry, I'm going to give this away a little bit, but I'm also going to put it in the title because I just feel like it's a better title. Oh yeah, I want to watch that episode about Dawn's house. I think more people would want to watch the episode about Your Money or Your Life. So this is for television. We're thinking it's the only time that they did Your Money or Your Life, but we could be wrong. We haven't gone through all the later episodes, but anyway, this, if anything, this is the first time they did Your Money or Your Life, and maybe the last. And it's kind of cool, and was just like there, and I was like, whoa, okay, that's awesome. So let's go to Terry and get Terry's thoughts on anything that stood out for him on this one.
Well, the one person who doesn't get enough credit, in my opinion, apart from Malin Merrick, is Joe Downing, the guy who played the holdup man.
Yeah.
And he was a Hollywood B actor, had done stage work before that, and he was perfect. I mean, if you called Central Casting and said, we need somebody to play the crook, they would have given you Joe Downing.
Which they probably did.
And maybe. What I don't know, and I'm glad to have you all here to ask the question, is whether he was also the crook in the radio version with that storyline.
I doubt it.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Because I didn't find that.
I think it could have been like Kearns, or it could have been, there's a lot of people that could have been, that were folks that would be on various episodes that Jack would grab. So I'm not sure.
But he was in this episode.
No, a fella named Ed Max played the burglar in 1940. Ed Max, M-A-X.
Yes, that was the other name that was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, there you go. 15 years before. 15 years before. So.
Ed was getting a little long at the tooth at this time, so they used someone else instead.
Well, they were going to change his name to Ed HBO, but I guess that didn't work out.
No, that was his original name. They changed it to Ed Max later.
The bottom line for me for this episode is this is one of those extremely rare times when I thought this was much better as a television program than it would have been on the radio. Of course, the punchline at the end of this, the payoff at the end of this, was the ultimate Jack Benny radio moment.
Yes.
But as an episode, I thought this was so much better to see than it would have been to listen to, because they were able to bring a lot more to it with their visual expressions.
To get the 4 regulars off of the Jack's radio show, plus Don buzzing in and out of his house, talking to them as they're in the bushes on the ground. I mean, that was just funny. That was
absolutely
great. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It was worth the price of admission.
Yeah, and the visual, seeing it, so often the visual in your brain, of course, is better than they can possibly pull off. But seeing the 4 of them there,
crouching,
it works for me. I mean, it was funnier than I'd even visualized it in my head. So
yeah,
so I agree. It was just really an excellent season. I mean, we're episode after episode this season. I mean, I mentioned that we're doing these essentially in order, and it works. Doing them in order. I mean, boy, the way they chose which episodes to film, which episodes to do live, which episodes to air next to which other episodes, it's just put together beautifully.
Well, and this is one of those examples of why this era was called the golden age of television.
Yes.
There was a lot of mediocre TV in the 50s. This was the exact opposite of that. This was excellent television. Well written, well acted. We're lucky to have a great recording of it. And this was just perfect.
Yeah, agreed. And to just play off of your golden age of television, this would be essentially either this season or next season would be the very first season of Gunsmoke, because it came on in 1955. So yeah. So that's and that was certainly considered one of the ultimate classics. I mean, of the classics that people, certainly the golden age of television also describes your show of shows and a lot of great comedy and things that were going on. But as far as things being filmed well enough to be shown in reruns and everything, you pretty much had Lucy and Jack's show, and then the one episode of the Honeymooners until you had Gunsmoke show up, and then Gunsmoke's been shown ever since, and certainly Perry Mason within a year or two after that. That show lives on forever. But they just, it's too bad, and I'm sure a lot of folks say, "Oh man, we shouldn't have been on the cheap. We should have put a little more money out and filmed more of our episodes because it just made them last." Because you filmed episodes. I mean, I was watching some I Love Lucy shows, and certainly this Jack Benny show too, right? The clarity is so nice. I mean, you could take it all the way up to HD, and it holds because, of course, it's filmed, and the film holds so much resolution. It's just.
I'd like to say one more thing about their performances. This might have been Jack Benny at his absolute best. You know, beyond a certain point, we get tired of the same jokes. Yeah. This was not that way. This was not tiring. He really hit this hard, and it worked. And everybody was at their best, I thought, in this episode.
I thought so too.
I always think of this routine of call her up, call the little woman, tell her. I think of this as one of the great lost opportunities that it could have been worked more often into, like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Because I think it's so funny and so good. Call her up, call the little woman. And that they never used it again, other than in this episode. That they didn't take this 1940 original episode and do it again in the 50s. Kind of shocks me. I'm so glad that the writers, going back through that one collection of Jack's old scripts, finds this one. They did go at, this is another one of the ones that they felt that they had the luxury to film in August 1955, so they didn't have to do it fast. They could take their time to make it great. And I also think that Dennis's song, as much as I usually fast forward through Dennis's song, the way they filmed him in the middle of the orchestra, singing whatever delightful song it was. What did he sing? It's Almost Like Being in Love. Isn't that from Oklahoma?
Yeah.
But so that was kind of one of the best showings of Dennis Day singing. But they said, but one of the greatest routines that Jack didn't repeat. And
I believe Dennis wanted to record Clancy Lowers the Boom, but they made him.
but he lowers down like he's Tom Cruise entering a bank.
Kathy, I'm glad you mentioned the song because it also evoked for me one of the funniest episodes of my favorite sitcom, Barney Miller, when they inadvertently consume some cannabis, and Jack Sue sang "It's Almost Like Being in Love" while stoned.
Love Jack Sue. And he's on the Jack Benny show at one point. Were you with us on that one, Terry?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So yeah, I love seeing Jack Sue.
Yeah, he was terrific.
A younger Jack Sue. That was nice seeing him.
Yeah.
Before. So, as I was going to mention in our last previous recording, the one thing that didn't work as well in this TV episode as the original radio was the archness of Mary. In the December 1st, 1940 episode of the episode like this one starts with Jack miserable and whining about his cold. And in the radio episode, Mary just shows up with this omelet and says, "Put it on your chest, Jack." She doesn't really start him. I don't believe she doesn't start him eating it. And he says, "What's in it?" And, and she goes, Vapo Rub. And so it was better, I think, in that one joke, worked better as a radio joke than to see her serve it and Jack eat it, and then her to say that there's Vicks Vapo Rub in it, because that's not Mary at all. Right. Mary wouldn't do that on purpose. I don't think that fits the character as much as if it had been Dennis or something like that. So
well, and as we were saying in the last episode, John and I were pointing out that Mary's just softer or feels softer in the TV shows, which we like. I mean, Mary at her most acidic was a little too acidic for me. And would just seem like she didn't like Jack is kind of what would come across. And You didn't want that. The TV show does a great job of her always seeming like she likes Jack, and you still have to do that dance with her because it's like she can't act like she loves Jack because she's not supposed to love Jack. She's not his wife in the TV show or in the radio show. So, but you know they're married. The audience knows they're married, so you like a little bit of softness tied into that edge, and I think in TV they really get that balance down pretty nicely. So yeah. Anyway, and let's see. Any John, what were your kind of thoughts on this?
Well, I love this episode. I wish I could have watched it again for the first time, not having heard the radio show, because I'd like to know how it plays as its own thing.
Yes.
I heard the radio show episode first and I loved it. Now, in general, I tend to be a bit of a radio snob. I tend to like the radio shows better than the television shows, but it's so fun to see them, you know, as a novelty, to be able to actually see them. And the way that they were able to translate this to television was really excellent.
Yes.
Even though I still will say I think the radio show is better. And
it's hard. It's John. This season, it is so because it's been easy, right? For us, all these previous seasons, you can go, okay, you know, it's a nice reflection of the radio show, but the radio show is where the meat is of comedy genius that is Jack Benny.
Yeah.
This season of the TV show, it's just like he's hitting them out of the park left and right. And so to where I say these episodes are very much up there. It's a crapshoot of whether you'd say the radio or television version of these particular performances would be better. And there's definitely pluses and minuses to each. And so I'd watch them so randomly, right? Where you catch an episode from season 2 and then you watch one from season 8. The radio show, I think we're a lot more used to listening in order, sequence, right? And so you get the build, you get how it works and everything. With the television show, for so many years, it was all it was difficult to listen. This is the first time and the only real season of Jack Benny, as I've said before, where we kind of have it sequentially and can kind of go through the season with Jack and the gang. And the fact that this is, like, to me, his best season that we've had so far, and maybe his best season ever, becomes season 6 of his show, that if I could pick one to have all the episodes in sequence, this is the one I would pick. So this is great. And I think our audience hopefully is getting a lot out of this too. So yeah.
And the last episode, the Isaac Stern episode that we did, I think is one of the great original television episodes. And this could be one of the great remade radio episodes on television. So it's interesting, though, because you've got in the original radio show from November 24th, 1940, you got the whole thing where they're going to Don's house. And I think that one of the things that's missing in this episode is when Jack originally suggests, you know, call ahead, call your wife.
Yes.
In the radio show, he does say, call the little woman, because Don had just been married at that point. They were newlyweds, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, Don is like, no. And so, but in this one, he forgot to say, call the little woman. So when he calls it back later, it's sort of missing that piece. That's one of the things that didn't quite work as well as it did on the radio show. And at the end of the radio show, Jack is left out there alone. Spoilers, he does get held up. But on the radio show, it's not Your Money or Your Life. That is from a different episode a few years later, where he's borrowing the Oscar from Ronald Colman. Correct. And that's, for those who don't know, that is like the moment in the Jack Benny Show radio. It could be the longest laugh, but it's certainly the most famous joke of Jack Benny. So this one being on television, obviously they've heard it before. It doesn't get the longest laugh on television, but it is neat. It was a neat idea to pair those two segments and put them together.
Because you're right. Almost you couldn't have Jack just get held up and give away the money. I guess, you know, I mean, so it almost like they all felt like we can't go back, you know, and have Jack just giving away money. He's got to put up a fight. So.
And the question would be too, you, as a writer, you go, are we ever going to use this in like, are we going to do the whole Academy Awards stealing the awards thing?
Yeah, right.
I don't think they ever did it in television, though. I would think if I was talking about it, I go, I think that would work in television. Okay. I mean, and you could have all kinds of guest stars to do it. Right.
No, Ronnie passed away. So,
right. But that never stopped Jack before. I mean, when people pass away, Jack puts other people in those positions.
Well, that's true. He could have stole Jimmy Stewart's.
Oh, he could have stole one of Jimmy Stewart's for sure, and then it could have been anybody else that he borrowed and took. I mean, and like I say, it would have dovetailed well into having different guest stars. It's just Jack in the TV show never really had an ongoing multi-episode arc. So I don't say, oh, well, I guess his next season, his vacation with Mary, where they're in all different countries, that was kind of closest to your arc. But yeah.
Well, I will tell you, it's a deep dive. But back in like 1934, at the beginning of the radio show, there is a delightful script that we'll get to in a future volume of the Jack Benny scripts, where Don himself Don invites Jack out to dinner, and they live in New York, and so he's supposed to go to Don's parents' house somewhere out in the New York suburbs, and on Jack's way there, he is held up 6 different times and gives money to the burglars 6 different times, so that he's totally broke by the time he gets to Jack's house. So if you think, hear this over a period of like 30 years, the number of robberies keeps going down, and in a way, you got to go from lots of times to once to, oh no, we can't.
Yeah.
Well, I have to say that the little woman piece is, I believe I'm right with this. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. The little woman in the original was Don's first wife. Yes. But by this time, I think we're to a totally different little woman. Yes. That's either second or third wife by the time we're to this one. Now, I will say, luckily, sort of, I think he keeps the wife throughout the television show. So when you see his wife on the television show, she's always the same woman. But it's kind of different that he has a different wife at different times it's been done.
Good old Lois.
Yeah. Terry,
I wanted to say that this episode kind of brings home the notion of Jack's longevity. You were talking about him being on the radio in the 30s. These episodes were in the 40s. First, the one at Don's house, and then the original Your Money or Your Life in 48. Yeah. Television in the 50s, and on into the 60s. And Buck, you've made this point before. I can't think of another actor, dramatic or comedic, who had such a long career at the top of his game for that long.
Mm-hmm. Maybe, I was going to point out Lucy, right? Because she's the closest.
Not in the 30s.
No, agreed. She was kicking around in the 30s and the 40s.
Yeah, but she wasn't at the top
her level
of her game.
She was not at all at Jack's level of success or anything.
Yeah.
She was, she'd be in a movie, but she wouldn't even be the main actress. She would be, whatever. It wasn't until her I Love Lucy that she really skyrocketed. I mean, certainly her radio show was, My Favorite Husband was a very popular radio show. She was pretty big then, but certainly she was no Jack Benny. But she was big enough to get Jello away from Jack. So there you go.
I was thinking the only other celebrity, it's not in the same world really. I would think would be Frank Sinatra, because he was big in the 30s and he was big right up into the 70s.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, I was just gonna say something about the visuals in this episode. First, you got Rochester with the little nurse cap, which was kind of silly and funny.
Yes.
And when Dennis Day drops down, that's a reference to You Bet Your Life, where the duck drops down when you say the secret word, right?
Which made me laugh, I got to say out loud, because I wasn't expecting it at all. It was like, oh my gosh, what a strange.
But I love sort of like because when I listen to the radio, I think there's no way they could do this on television. How would you even show that? How would you show rehearsal? How would they're leaving the studio, driving, and then going to Dawn's house? Like, this would be one of the episodes that I thought you could never do on television, and you see, and they pull it off, and I gotta say, kudos to them. But the moment that I thought really blew me away, like you mentioned, Buck, is seeing that whole cast together. Right after the rehearsal, you've got Mary, you've got Bob Crosby, you've got Dennis Day, you've got Jack, you've got Dawn. I only wish Rochester was in that scene.
I was thinking the same thing. If Rochester was down there crouching along with them, and can you imagine how much more over the top it would be to, first you get Mary and Bob going in together, right? And then he gives them a reason for Dennis, but then you're left with Jack and Rochester. It's got to be Jack next, but then you have a reason for Rochester to come in, and Jack's out there by himself, and it starts raining. I mean, that would have been just
that would be great, but that's where the show comes up against the realities of American culture in the 50s. In fact, I didn't mention it with the last episode. It was extraordinary to me that Eddie Anderson and Isaac Stern got to leave the house with such as a real twosome, instead of one having to follow the other out. So the show was breaking racial barriers for inclusion of the Rochester character. But you remember that Jack almost never had Rochester at the radio program.
Correct.
That he had to be at home, and that Rochester was not a character on the radio program. No, and that it was
it's just too bad because
I do think in the dressing room. So.
Yep, I think audiences would have forgiven them. I don't think they would have had any great pandemonium just because he was coming over to Dawn's house.
Audiences at this time. So let's just say the racist backlash in the South. This was really ramping up. And so, again, a reason I wish we had more documents behind the scenes to say, I think they had to think about how do we stage this? How do we push and make things inclusive? But we better not, we have to give second thought to something.
And if you want to look at it through that lens, the scene you have with Rochester is with him playing a nurse and things, right? And so that is a very non-masculine piece that they did with him that again could be
that was at Jack's house. It was acceptable for Rochester to do anything at Jack's house, but it gets a little more difficult out in the public world. So I don't in any way need to put a damper on anything. It's just useful to go back 70, 80 years in time and go, what might there were actually controversies.
But it's still, I mean, like I said, it works great as an episode, and probably, they probably did think that through and we're like, well, we can't really do that. So they didn't. But I'm glad we pointed out Rochester is in this episode because he's the other cast member that we don't, hadn't mentioned. So that's why the cast becomes so large here because it's six of them that are in this thing that are all from the radio cast. So, and we usually get, we feel like, oh, wow, we're lucky. We got 3 of them or 4 of them, right? And in an episode, but never like this. So, I hope everybody enjoys it anyway. Anyone else have anything to point out about the episode or commercials or anything? I don't know.
The only thing I'll mention real quick is Joseph Kearns, the great character actor. He plays Mr. Wilson. That's what I know him as. And I only after watching these television shows connected who he was when I heard Joseph Kearns on the radio. I'm like, oh, it's that guy. So this is a good example of that.
And as he does all the interviewing, whenever they have an episode that's about interviewing somebody, he's always the interviewer. And then I always forget, isn't he also Ed the Vault Keeper as well? Okay. So he's Ed throughout the radio show. I don't know. I can't remember when we did. I know we did the Vault one, but I don't remember if he was in the Vault episode. I don't think he was, but I'm not sure. Anyone remember?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. So, but that one will be coming up soon again, and who knows? Maybe we'll do a new intro for it or something. We'll see. But anyway, enjoy this one. Fabulous, fabulous episode. Certainly in each of our top 5. along with the other 35 that we've listed in the top 5.
But we need to put this back into general circulation. Call her up, I said. Call her up. Tell you what, call the little woman. So,
call the little woman. If I've told you once, I've told you 5 times. Well, that's what gets me too. It's not, if I told you once, I told you 100 times. It's because you're used to hearing that, but not if I've told you once, I've told you 5 times. It's like, okay, whatever. So good episode. All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy. You've got something to really look forward to. And like I say, I'll bring it to you the highest video quality I have, which I think is pretty good.